What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 122 of the Access to Combat podcast. I'm one half of your host, Hugo the Boss. Hugo got next, joined by my co-host.
It's your boy, Ray Boogie Kahuna. On today's episode 122, we're going to be covering UFC 322, Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. And on the boxing end, we got a little bit of Top Rank, a little bit of Matchroom. But before we get into any of that, my brother, like always, please tell him what the deal is.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast. If you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know.
First fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have Chepe Mariscal going one-on-one with Pat Sabatini. Mariscal is 18-6 overall. Fighting out of Denver, Colorado, 33 years old. Sabatini is 20-5 overall. Fighting out of Pennsylvania, 35 years old. Now, if this card kind of stays as is, as currently constituted, I think this is a banger way to kick off this card. This is taking place in MSG. We got Chepe, we got Sabatini. This is not the first time they fought. These guys actually fought once before back in 2018. That ended up being a split decision going in Mariscal's favor. Rewatching that fight, man, if this rematch is anything like that previous fight, you're gonna get a lot of scrambling, a lot of back takes, a lot of reversals, high-paced grappling. It's actually going to be pretty fun, considering it might be mostly a grappling matchup. I'm going to be taking Sabatini here for the win. I think Sabatini, even though that fight went to a split in favor of Chepe, he's the better wrestler, in my opinion. Sabatini also has been making strides in his striking, also making strides in his decision-making. His last fight against Joanderson Brito, very impressive in my opinion. Chepe, I still think he's a dog. I think he's going to make this a very close fight. I can see another split decision, to be honest with you. I think Sabatini's going to be on a revenge tour. He's probably got this one marked up. Give me Sabatini for the win. I'd say by decision.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you here. I think Sabatini has made more of the meaningful improvements throughout his MMA tenure. UFC tenure, preferably. But I think that the wrestling should be able to mitigate a lot of what Mariscal is going to want to drag this fight into. Sabatini has become someone that I used to fade. Now he's someone that I can kind of count on. I still have questions about his chin, and Chepe has pop, but I'm with you. I just think rematches are always weird. I think rematches always seem to go in the opposite direction. Give me Sabatini to win this fight via decision, though.
Next fight on the card at men's bantamweight, we have the Machine, Malcolm Wellmaker, going one-on-one with Cody Haddon. Wellmaker, perfect. 10-0. Fighting out of Augusta, Georgia, 31 years old. Haddon, 8-1 overall. Fighting out of Australia, repping Australia, 27 years old. Two young prospects, two guys that I'm kind of excited about to see, like, just how they progress in the UFC. How I see this fight kind of playing out is, on the feet, I think Cody is probably a little more technical. I know he's got an amateur boxing background, but I'm going to be slightly favoring Wellmaker. Wellmaker might not be as technical, but he is very technical. He's got the atomic nuclear option. He's been finishing people left and right. So since I'm favoring Wellmaker here in the striking, that doesn't really completely rule out Cody. I think Cody has another path here, and I think it's probably the grappling. Wellmaker really hasn't been tested with, kind of the level of grappling that Haddon possesses. Haddon is a striker first, but will mix in takedowns. I think he will push Malcolm to the cage and, try to get his grappling going. Will he have success? I don't know. Wellmaker's fights have surpassed the first round, all involve people who decided to grapple him, but the man is undefeated for a reason. I'm going to be leaning Wellmaker here. I think Wellmaker is going to have enough grappling to kind of mitigate what Cody wants to do. I'd say second round KO, maybe third round KO, but I think he gets it done ITD.
Yeah, I'm with you here. This is a fight where you look at Cody Haddon, he's proven to kind of be the more well-rounded fighter, but I don't think he's the better athlete in there. He's not going to have the power edge. I don't think he's going to have the athleticism edge. This is just a straight eye testing. I think Wellmaker probably does knock him out eventually in this fight. The hand speed's going to be evident. I think Wellmaker, even though he swings wider than Haddon, I think he's going to be able to make it up with his hand speed in general. But I just feel like I'm curious to see what these lines shake out to, because I think if Haddon's a disrespectful dog, he warrants a sprinkle, to be frank. But we'll see how we get closer to fight time. I want to see how these lines shake out, and then we'll see more or less like what I advise you guys to do. But honestly, I think Wellmaker's probably going to find the finish here. Fight doesn't go as interesting if it's plus money or something in the semblance of plus money. But Wellmaker's the official lean for the podcast. Follow us on our social media platforms to see how we lean it and how we play it as usual.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have Roman Kopylov going one-on-one with Gregory RoboCop Rodrigues. Kopylov, 14-4 overall. Fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 34 years old. RoboCop, 17-6 overall. Fighting out of Deerfield Beach, Florida, but repping Brazil, 33 years old. Excited to watch both these guys, lock horns, so to say, in the middleweight division here. I'm going to be leaning RoboCop though, and it's purely based on the fact that he has the grappling edge, in my opinion here. Just take Kopylov down. I think he has a massive advantage on the ground. I think he could just beat him up, fuck him up, maybe even find a finish on the ground.
Wear him out bad.
Kopylov, I think, very good striker, very fast hands, can catch Gregory early, but I think as the fight wanes on, he will slow down a bit. And, that's where I kind of trust RoboCop to kind of just take over the fight. Fight doesn't go unders. Would be really surprised if this fight went all three. So that's probably, some safe plays if you're looking into, jumping into this particular fight. But give me RoboCop here. The grappling edge should be enough to take down Kopylov and beat him up. I think he gets it done. ITD, I would lean sub.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm leaning Gregory as well just because of the grappling edge. But there's a fight where if Roman finds his chin and cleans his shit out, I'm not going to be surprised.
Not at all.
Gregory's chin is super suspect. I think the violence plays are definitely to look for this fight. If you have any interest in I guess you want to go dog or pass, I don't hate it either, just because on the feet, I think this is 50-50. I do think Gregory can hurt him. I know for sure Roman can hurt Gregory. So I think if Gregory gets this to the floor, especially with Kopilov's gas tank issues, I think he's going to maul him low key. It's going to be CLD, but with less resistance, just because CLD, I think, has better survival instincts as well as grappling acumen and cardio relative to Kopylov. So I think Gregory probably by sub. I wouldn't be surprised. I think if he smashes him, it wouldn't be surprising. But once again, this is Gregory Rodrigues we're talking about. He makes a lot of questionable decisions at times. So that could leave the door open for Kopylov to kind of find a finish in this spot. So I think unders. I think fight doesn't go. I think that's the way to look at this. But the official name for the podcast is Gregory Rodrigues.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have Bo Nickal going one-on-one with the black belt hunter, Rodolfo Vieira. Nickal, 7-1 overall. Fighting out of Pennsylvania, 29 years old. Vieira, 11-3 overall. Fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 36 years old. Interesting matchmaking here, in my opinion. I think this is a decent test for Bo Nickal. This is a fight where I think if Bo Nickal pushed grappling, even though nobody's really successfully taken down Vieira or, decided to wrestle into Vieira. I mean, I get it because he's a black belt, right? And, most of his fights are by sub. I'm always a controlled grappler over jiu-jitsu player all day, every day, twice on Sunday. But I could also see this fight playing out like the Paul Craig fight, because a lot of Vieira's fights, he's the one pushing the grappling, but for the most part, it's stand up. In my opinion, he might even have the better hands.
Yeah.
Bo Nickal, a little faster, but he's still kind of he's still raw. He's still got the overhand. He's kind of like that boxer wrestler archetype. The striking ain't there. It's kind of just to set up the grappling. Does he want to grapple Vieira? I think he should. Vieira might even grapple him and, do half the work for him. He doesn't even need to search for the grappling. It's going to come to him. I'm going to lean Bo Nickal here. I want to say probably by decision, but if Bo Nickal's able to end up on top, I think TKO is probably the way. But it's going to be Bo Nickal in a fight that could look very boring.
Yeah, I think there's a pure dog or pass spot. Rodolfo Vieira is sitting at the dog right now, and I think it's probably warranted just because of Bo Nix, not Denver Broncos Bo Nix. We're talking about, this guy. I'm just saying, he kind of got exposed last fight against RDR. I don't know if he feels comfortable going to the floor with him because he didn't feel comfortable going to the floor with Craig. I think Vieira has better fight IQ than Craig. I think he's a better striker than Craig. I feel like this is a fight where Rodolfo can definitely find the spots, even though he has a little bit of a suspect chin. I think Bo does crack to an extent, but I think we haven't seen Bo crack to this extent at this level. This is a guy who is good. I think if Bo Nix, he makes a mistake, I think on the floor, I think it could be real trouble for him. I think he's not going to be too safe in this fight. I don't know where he's safe outside of having control position up top. And now with the UFC rules, if you're just stalling and you're not really advancing position, I could see the refs kind of standing this fight up a couple of times. And then it gets really interesting. So for me, this is dog or pass. It's probably going to be more of a pass because I can't get there with Vieira. But we'll see how we play it closer to fight time. Bo's the official lean for the podcast, but it's definitely dog or pass the spot.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have GM3, Gerald Meerschaert going one-on-one with the Darth Knight, Kyle Daukaus. GM3 is 37-20 overall. Fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 37 years old. Daukaus is 16-4 overall. Fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 32 years old. I'm kind of low-key excited for this one as well. I know Daukaus, he got cut previously. He's been working his ass off to get back into the UFC. Had a impressive re-debut against Meerschaert, who he put out. I kind of see that playing out similarly in this fight as well.
Agreed.
I love GM3. If you like the GM3 side, it's always GM3 round 3. Play it.
Right.
Play it till he retires. I'm telling you right now, it's going to hit more times than not. That being said, GM3's a decent striker, but he's going to be the slower guy in there. Daukaus, I don't really like his striking, but he puts it together decently enough. He hits very hard. I think he's going to catch him right on the chin. GM3 is going to hit the ground, and Daukaus is going to finish him off. Give me Daukaus by KO. I'll say rounds 1 and 2, but I think, again, if you like the GM3 side, round 3 sub, it almost never fails. 99% of the time, it's every time.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think this is a bad fight for GM3. I don't like how he's moving. He should probably retire. Like, he's not responding to shots the way he did 2 years ago. Like, even a year ago. Like, his body is just deteriorating in there at this point. So this is Daukaus by finish. It's just when I hope they give us a nice line for like just the ITD or just even the knockout, because I don't think Daukaus is subbing GM3. I trust GM3 enough to not get subbed here, but there could be a club and sub, right? So
there could be.
That's what worries me. But I think if he's gonna lose, it's probably gonna be by knockout. I think Daukaus finds him out in the first 2 rounds. Give me Daukaus here by knockout rounds 1 and 2.
Next fight on the card at women's strawweight, we have Overkill. Angela Hill going 1-on-1 with the Archangel Fatima Kline. Hill, 18-15 overall. Fighting out of Chula Vista, California, 40 years old. Kline, 8-1 overall. Fighting out of Hyde Park, New York, 25 years old. This is another kind of interesting fight. I mean, Angela Hill, I know she's training out of California, but she's a New Yorker. We're in MSG. We got some New York on some New York violence here. Fatima Kline, training partner to a woman who's going to be mentioned a little later on the card. Also here, she's a decent fighter herself. This is going to be a banger. I'd say on the feet, Fatima Kline's probably got the edge only because, she's 25. She's going to be a little younger, a little faster, a little more slick, a little more decent with the footwork. Angela Hill, I mean, listen, no offense. I love the girl, but she's been looking a little slower in there. She's never really had any kind of, one punch stopping power or any kind of real motion when it comes to the striking to really, put damage or put any kind of fear into her opponents. So I don't see her kind of like holding off Fatima. And if it gets to the grappling, I think Fatima, that's where she's a little better. I just keep thinking about Fatima's debut when she was upper weight class against Jasmine Jasudavicius, and she gave Jazz a bit of a run for her money. Fatima can grapple. Fatima can strike. This fight is probably going to go the distance either way. I'm going to be leaning Fatima by decision. If you like the Angela Hill side, it's always decision. Another play I'm going to be looking at is probably fight ends in split, fight ends in majority. Angela Hill is always live because just the pure volume. And, she's been able to mix in the grappling as well. I don't think she does it here, but give me Fatima Kline here for the win. I say by decision.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Fatima's a complete fighter. I think she's very good. I think she's the new wave of MMA coming up. I'm not sure if I agree with this line. She's saying at a minus 440, 450 on some books. That's insane.
That is extremely wide, actually.
Angela Hill sitting at a plus 350. Her decision's probably going to be plus 380 or plus 400. I don't hate like a quarter sprinkle on Angela Hill because there's a big step up in competition outside of Jasmine J. Jasmine J, that loss aged well because she just got knocked out by Manon in a contender fight for a belt. So for the belt rather, not a belt. This ain't boxing, but it's just a situation where I just feel like Angela hasn't really been responding the way I like her to, similar to GM3 in her last couple of fights. A lot of wear and tear on the tires. This is a young, fresh, hungry girl coming up who can grapple. Very good on the floor. I don't expect her to stop Angie because Angie's all dog, no breaks, but I'll say Fatima's probably going to win this by decision, but I just can't get behind these lines. These lines are a little absurd. This is still women's MMA, a lot of variables, and Angela Hill is a junkyard dog.
I don't hate the money line look. I don't hate the decision look on the Angela Hill side. And even on the Fatima side, like I agree with you, less likely, but maybe rounds 2, 3, you sprinkle it in there just a little bit, because it's probably going to be wide only because of Angela's durability.
Yeah, but I can see Fatima subbing her. Yeah, 100%. So I completely understand that. I'm with you. I'm on Fatima, but can't get behind these lines. Probably dog or pass, ladies and gentlemen. We'll follow us on those social media platforms to see how we decide to approach this.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have Baisangur Susurkaev going 1-on-1 with Eric McConico. Susurkaev is perfect. 10-0. Fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 24 years old. McConico is 10-3-1 overall. Fighting out of Glendale, Arizona, 35 years old. Now, I haven't looked at the betting odds for this particular fight, but I'm going to assume that Susurkaev is extremely wide.
They're not even available. I think Vegas is still trying to figure it out.
Oh, man. Now,
pause on the why, by the way.
I'm going to be picking Susurkaev here. This is the guy who, he's the new, Dana White Contender Series darling, Before we had, believe in Joe Pyfer. Be Joe Pyfer, right? Now we have be Susurkaev. I mean, I made that up, but this guy, he's getting giga glazed. Listen, he won his, Contender Series fight, made the extreme, couple day turnaround, ended up on the pay-per-view for his debut fight. To Susurkaev's credit or detriment or whatever you want to call it, he did get rocked in that debut fight.
He falls in love with his hands a little too much, in my opinion.
I mean, he's primarily a striker. He doesn't really go to the grappling. He'll go to it when he needs to, but he wants to throw hands. Most of his wins are via KO.
Yeah. When I say that, though, it's because I don't think his hands are very good. I think his hands are all right, to be honest with you. I know he can strike, but I think the way they pump him, just a little questionable. Eric Nolan was able to touch him up and rock him in the first round of that last fight, and that was on short notice. That dude got off the couch for that dude. That dude had to paddock grapple in the second round to get him out of there.
And listen, McConico, he's not terrible. I'll give him a little credit. He's got decent hands, decent grappling. I mean, it was against Cody Brundage, so you take that with a grain of salt. This should be Susurkaev here for the win. It's probably going to be by KO. It's a whatever fight for me, so I'll take Susurkaev. It's probably the safe side. I'm pretty sure everybody in MMA Twitter is taking that side too, so there we go.
Yeah, I'm with you on the lean here, but I'll be honest with you. I think Susurkaev is a little overhyped, to be frank with you. I think he's good. Don't get me wrong. He should win this fight. McConico, I don't think is UFC caliber. I think he came in on short notice to fight Ruzaboyev. Credit to him. He got starched, unfortunately, even though he did have his moments in that fight. Then he beat up Cody Brundage, handled his business. I actually called on the podcast when they fought that he's live 100%. Didn't get around to playing it, so to be fair, but it did hit. The way my call was correct. This is a situation with a guy who I think doesn't belong in the UFC versus a guy who does. And even though I think Susurkaev is a little bit on the Ikram Aliskerov train, where he trains with Khamzat. Aliskerov only lost to Khamzat. I think there's a little bit. I think Khamzat's special relative to his teammates. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
So when you're getting the jetpack like this, I'm not quite sold on you. I'm there for this finish. I think he gets him out of there within the first 2 rounds. I would say first round, but this is also a situation where I'm going to be looking to learn a lot about this guy this weekend and his championship medal and his championship aspirations for a possible future fade.
Yeah, so 100%.
We'll keep you posted on that as time goes. But for now, I don't think this is the one. I think Susurkaev is going to get him out of there within 1 or 2 rounds. I'd say 1 round. So Susurkaev round 1.
Next fight on the card at women's flyweight, we have cold-blooded Erin Blanchfield going 1-on-1 with Tracy Cortez. Blanchfield, 13-2 overall. Fighting out of New York, 26 years old. Cortez is 12-2 overall. Fighting out of Scottsdale, Arizona, 31 years old. Now, this fight's very interesting. This fight is also a rematch from, back in the day, where another fight that was very close. I think it ended up in split decision. I don't recall. It definitely went the distance, and they ended up giving it to Tracy Cortez. Now, rewatching that fight, I did lean Blanchfield. And, ever since that fight, we've got Cortez, who, has been improving as a fighter. I think her boxing has gotten way better. Her grappling's always been pretty solid. Then we got Blanchfield on the other side, who's kind of like making waves, came into the UFC making crazy noise, beating up women left and right. Has only really lost to Manon, and ain't no shame in losing to Manon. Manon's a badass woman, very physical, very big. The better striker, in my opinion. Now, in this rematch, if you listen to earlier in the podcast, I'm a bit on the revenge tour for a lot of these sequel fights. So give me Blanchfield here for the win. Now, do I think she's the better striker? Maybe not technically, but I think she's just got a couple things going for her in this particular matchup. One, she's one of these fighters that, in my opinion, can get it out of first gear. The problem with when I watch Cortez fights, it's very, monotonous, I guess.
That's a good word.
It's, they're straightforward. She kind of controls the pace. I don't think she's going to be able to control the pace in this particular fight. I think Blanchfield's going to, walk her down. I think she probably hits harder. Cortez is going to be the cleaner puncher, but at the end of the day, it might just boil down to the grappling. And if it looks like the first fight, and if Erin Blanchfield, she walks around like she's always got a chip on her shoulder, there's no way she don't have this fight in particular circled. I think she's going to get this one done. Give me Blanchfield at home, at MSG, to do a thing and, defeat Cortez. I'd take by decision.
Yeah, I'm with you here, but this is a fight where I could easily understand people who are on a dog or pass spot, to be frank. So I'm going to say dog or pass. I'm going to lean Blanchfield, though. I think Blanchfield has fought the better brand of competition. I think she's looked more impressive against the better brand of competition. I think Manon beats both of these girls up, so there's no shame in that. I think Tracy Cortez, I question her commitment to MMA entirely, to be frank. I do think she has championship aspirations, but she has put into question, and verbally, by the way, whether or not she can get to the mountaintop, especially in this sport. When you're dealing with someone like that, I feel like they might look for a door if shit's not going their way. I don't think this is a fight where Blanchfield's going to put an immense amount of damage on her, but I think Blanchfield's probably going to show the levels. I think Tracy could win this fight. Don't get me wrong. I would not be surprised if she got this. This is women's MMA once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is a fight that it's much closer line than the Fatima Kline fight, but I feel like Tracy has a better chance of winning this fight than Angela Hill does against Fatima, right? So I understand the lines. I think the lines make sense. Blanchfield sitting at a minus 188 on some books. Tracy Cortez coming back at a plus 155, as high as that. I think this is dog or pass. This fight can be extremely close. I think Tracy has the athleticism edge too, but this is a girl, like I said, that was able to control Rose Namajunas for 5 rounds. Tracy got dog walk for 5 rounds. And I know she took that fight on short notice, but she didn't try to get out of first gear. And that was my brother's point earlier. So with that said, I know Blanchfield's going to do what she's got to do. I trust her process a little better here. That's why I'm leaning her. But don't be surprised if this line gets out of control. If Tracy gets up to a plus 180, plus 200, that I sprinkle on her. So I'm going to go with the New York girl. Give me Erin Blanchfield and Fatima Kline to defend the throne. For now, it's definitely Blanchfield by a decision.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight, we have Sean Brady going one-on-one with Michael Morales. Brady, 18-1 overall. Fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 32 years old. Morales is perfect, 18-0. Fighting out of Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, but repping Ecuador, 26 years old. Interesting fight. This is another fight that I'm pretty much looking forward to, and a fight where I was I'm going a little back and forth because I like Mike Morales a lot. I keep it a buck. I mean, the guy's exciting. He's athletic. He's dynamic. He hits hard. He's got low-key grappling. Undefeated. The kid's a phenom. He's only 26 years old, and he's here stepping up, fighting Sean Brady. Sean Brady, on the other hand, I'm surprised he's even taking this kind of fight. I feel like he was kind of lined up to, maybe fight the winner of, JDM and Islam Makhachev. I don't know. But I guess he wants to stay active. It is a very risky fight for him because he can lose his ranking here. He can. I'm going to be leaning Sean Brady here for the win. And it's purely based on the fact that, listen, I know Mike Morales has got some wrestling, and I know on the feet he can piece up Brady. He possibly could knock out Brady, but he's never fought a grappler like Brady. His wrestling is elite. I think Brady's going to be able to get in on Mike, take him down, hold him, beat him up a little bit. It's only a 3-round fight. Give me Sean Brady here for the win. I think he's going to be able to hold his spot in the rankings. I think he's going to call his shot after the win. It's going to be a banger either way, but I'm on Sean Brady.
Now, if you followed this podcast, you definitely know I have choice words for Sean Brady. I think he's a little bit of a fraud. I'm going to be honest with you.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
Yeah, man. He beat Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards can't fucking wrestle. And he's just shown to be so arrogant at this point that he's not willing to commit to the work to actually get better. That's where I'm at with Sean and his wins and losses. You know, he beat Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is a 55er.
Disrespect.
The Calvin Gastelum showed that he can't grapple. Another guy that can wrestle his ass off, but hasn't had to use his wrestling in years and hasn't made any meaningful improvements in his grappling. This is a guy in Mike Morales that is going to have a significant size edge on him. And I know Brady he's a big, broad back dude. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to disrespect the dude. I just think he's fucking limited, man. And this is a fight where he might have to exchange with Mike to get the wrestling going. I like Mike for a couple of reasons in this fight. For one, he's dog money. And I think this fight is predominantly dog or pass. For two, he's going to have the striking edge. For three, he's going to be much larger. Sean Brady, 72.5-inch reach. Mike Morales, 79-inch reach. He's going to be able to hit the motherfucker from across the octagon. You know, it's going to feel like he threw a trash can at Sean Brady in New York. You know what I'm saying? And you know how we do out here. We don't give a fuck. You know, something's getting thrown at you if we can't hit you.
Yeah, we down in the subway. We're picking up rats. We're picking up pizza slices. We're
Everything.
picking up train tracks. You get hit with everything.
Yeah, the
Snapple bottles to the cranium.
The Ninja Turtles roll down there too. You know what I'm saying? So, and you know, even though Sean Brady has a turtle's back, I mean, he's jacked. He's a big dude, but this is a guy in Mike Morales who I believe is a national champion wrestler. Now, with all that said, and even though you guys know I'm leaning Mike, I got to give Sean his fucking due here, man. This, in my opinion, is probably the second toughest fight in the division for him.
Big nuts.
And I would say second just because Islam hasn't showed up yet. If Islam wins, it's the third. I think Shavkat is a tough fight for him. I think Islam, if he wins, is definitely a tough fight for him. And I'll be honest with you, this, in my opinion, if you had to rank the fights for Sean in this division, this is the third toughest fight. And it might be the toughest just because Mike is the best athlete he's fought. Mike is probably the most explosive athlete out of the three. Big nuts from Sean Brady here. I give him a ton of credit. If I was him, I know he wants to stay active. I wouldn't have taken this fight. This is the UFC putting him in a position where it's like you either put up or you shut up, or we're just going to walk over you. I mean, for fuck's sakes, on the card, we have Leon Edwards and Carlos Prates ahead of him. And I feel like if I'm Sean Brady, I big nuts, bro. Big nuts. I will give you a ton of credit here, but I think the UFC knows what they're doing here. It's the fucking main card opener. This is a young Ecuadorian prospect. In New York, by the way, Queens has a big fucking Ecuadorian population.
Hey, but you know, Philly's next door. He's got a little bit of a hometown advantage, if you're asking me.
Yeah, hilarious. I just feel like, man, this is big nuts to Sean. That's all I gotta say. This is dog or pass. This is Mike Morales all day, every day, twice on Sundays. I think he's going to find a knockout in this fight. I do. I think he's going to catch Sean. I think he's going to put him down. Credit to Sean, man. If he shuts me up, man, credit to you, man. I think if you win this fight, you don't take any fights unless you're getting a fucking title shot.
No, I think after this fight, no matter what,
I don't give a fuck.
Especially after a win, he chills.
Yeah, Ian Gary's fucking ducking you. Everyone's ducking you, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll give you your due. Like, you know, the only ones who aren't ducking you are the guys that you probably should be fighting. The Islams, the Shavkats. The Ian Gary's ducking the shit out of you. Like, I mean, he's a bitch anyway, but that's just fuck him.
Yeah.
Fuck him. I'm spicy today. He's a bitch. Like, you know, like it clearly should have been Sean and Ian. That's the fight that makes the most sense. But you know what? The UFC said, well, he doesn't want you. And Sean said, I'll take the next killer. Like, you know, big nuts to Sean. That's all I got to say. But this is Mike Morales. I'm on Mike Morales. We're split here. You know, follow us on social media platforms to see if we get there. But I'm on Mike Morales here.
Next fight on the card at men's lightweight, we have Benil Dariush going one-on-one with the God of War, Benoit Saint-Denis. Dariush is 23-6-1 overall, fighting out of Huntington Beach, California, but repping Assyria, 36 years old. Benoit is 15-3 overall, fighting out of France, repping France, 29 years old. Another grappler's delight in the main card, another banger of a fight in my opinion, but another fight where I'm gonna be leaning the God of War. Now, I mean, This fight can get spicy. Let's keep it a buck because, I mean, Dariush is a decent grappler.
Let me tell you the line, by the way. It's BSD minus 215. That's high, as low as minus 190. Benil's setting at a plus 164. I think that's a little crazy, but
I think that's kind of appropriately lined. And the reason why I say that is because, listen, you got to factor in the age, you know, the component that, you know, Dariush is not a young buck. He's moving a little slower in there, but, like, you know, to give him credit, again, very good grappler. He might be able to even, you know,
I think he's a better grappler. I'm pretty sure he's a better grappler than BSD.
He might give BSD some work in here.
Yeah, 100%.
But BSD is going to be the slightly bigger guy with the slightly longer reach. Hopefully BSD don't come in here with some staff, because if he does, then, you know, hey, listen, I'll whatever. That's all out the window. But if he comes in healthy, I think BSD can push a pace. I think if BSD hits very hard, he's not afraid of a little ground and pound himself. Dariush, you know, decent striker, maybe an underrated striker, some may say, but the chin, very suspect. And, you know, Benoit, you could also say he's got a suspect chin, but he's got more of the zombie type chin. You know, you got to kill the man. Like, you'll knock him down 7 times, he's going to get up 8 times.
Yeah.
Dariush, you hit him once, see ya.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The lights are out.
Yankee voice, see ya.
There's gonna be another New York power outage. It's not gonna be the electricity in the building. It's gonna be the electricity in Dariush's brain.
So, like, I think this fight does have the potential for some, you know, some crazy shenanigans. I wouldn't throw this particular fight maybe in a parlay. I'd probably stay away from that. But I'm gonna be leaning Benoit. I think Benoit is gonna be able to at least maybe outmotor him. Maybe not in the beginning, but if the fight gets, you know, stretched out, because it's a 15-minute fight. Pause. I think he's going to be able to, you know, work him down and, you know, beat him up and maybe even find a finish. Benoit Saint-Denis, God of War, in MSG, it's going down.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I want to say dog or pass. I understand the Benil play because he is better on the floor. I think he's going to be the more technical striker too.
Hey, listen.
You know what? Maybe I might get there. I'm going to be honest with you. BSD does get hit, man. And this is a guy who is technically a black belt, not only a high-level black belt in jiu-jitsu, but also technically a black belt in Muay Thai. And you guys saw what he did to Gamrot. He fucking audited him. By the way, called that again another fraud. FYI. But this is a situation with BSD where BSD is going to be more dangerous than Gamrot. He's going to have a presence on the feet. So I like the unders for this fight, low-key. I think someone's going to get fucking served. I don't think this fight makes it all 3.
I'm interested in any kind of crazy props on both sides because, you know, Dariush KO.
Interesting.
If it's big,
yeah, I think he could definitely clip this guy.
Even Dariush sub. You know, Benoit's never been sub before, but Benoit's been put in some positions where, you know.
And this is the best grappler he's faced.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what anybody says. This is by far the best grappler he's faced. So I'm with you. I'm 100% with you.
Very high variance fight, in my opinion.
Yeah. And that's why I kind of want to stay away from him, but I think this is a value, like to your point, this is a value spot, like where you find good props and you kind of just figure it out. But I think what's definitive, I think, is the unders. I think someone's going to get fucking served in this fight. And I think that's why they have it this high up on the card, man. I think someone's going to get served bad. So it's either going to be Dariush walking into a shot and just getting the lights put out, or a club and sub / knockout by Dariush on BSD. So give me the unders. Give me the fight doesn't go here. Those are looks. I don't think BSD subs Dariush. That much I'll say.
Okay.
But I think Dariush, if he gets on top of Dariush, the ground and pound is going to be fucking vicious. And this guy cannot take a shot anymore, man. I'm sorry. He just can't. So give me BSD for the lean, man. But don't be surprised if I get to a dog shot that night, depending on how crazy the line gets and some of the value props. But give me BSD for the lean here.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight, we have Rocky Leon Edwards going one-on-one with the Nightmare, Carlos Prates. Edwards, 22-5 overall, fighting out of Birmingham, England, 34 years old. Prates, 22-7 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 32 years old. Another banger of a fight, another fight that I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm very excited for this main card in general. MSG, you know, they kind of stacked the card a little bit, you know, and rightfully so. This is the Mecca. You know, we deserve some banger fights, and this one is going to be no exception. But this fight in particular, when I start thinking about it, I mean, I think it's going to be weird. It's going to be a weird fight because I feel like both guys kind of want to counter strike. Who's the better striker? I go back and forth with that one in my head because Cortez he's got the Muay Thai background. I think he's got the power edge in my opinion here. But, you know, he's a little low volume. I think defensively he's got some holes. You know, I think he gets hit a little too much for my flavor. Edwards, probably the smarter fighter. Probably the more technical fighter. Who has the speed advantage? I don't know.
I think it's Leon.
It's probably 50-50 in my opinion. I think it depends. I think it depends on how they're setting up their strikes. Leon also has a grappling edge here in my opinion.
Which is crazy.
If he wants to go to the wrestling, he can take Cortez down.
He's physical enough to do it too.
I think if Leon could make this fight boring, I think he could win this fight. And I'm pretty sure he's probably aligned as a dog here.
Yeah, he's sitting at plus 162.
That's, that seems about right. I don't think that's maybe not enough juice for the squeeze, but I think that's decently lined there. I think Edwards has a kind of a path here. If it stays standing though, Cortez, he's just got that off button, man. And Cortez's fights are always kind of weird to cap because it's like he's a slow starter. He's low volume, but man, he's just got to touch you once and he'll make you chicken dance all over that fucking ring. I mean, the most powerful striker Edwards has fought lately, and you got to go down, it's probably Usman. Usman ain't really known for his striking. Leon has been fighting a lot of grapplers lately, so this is probably a decent change of pace for him here, but I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel like Leon's going to be winning till he's not. That's just my gut feeling. Leon should win. I don't hate a dog shot on him if, depending on how things start, manifesting and playing out as the fight goes on. But I think I'm going to be picking Cortez here for the win, for the upset. It's just one of those things. I know fighting nerds have been, they've been struggling as of late. They're
getting fucking exposed.
Yeah, they're kind of getting a bit exposed here, so I don't hate the Leon look, but it's just it's just a gut feeling. Cortez, the guy, his cardio is just, Marlboro cigarettes.
Hennessy, bro.
He don't drink water. He's handed down to the. This guy's more New York than some New Yorkers.
Yeah, he is.
And maybe that's the appeal I got with Cortez. I gotta lean Cortez because he just remind me of like my uncle. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just a dirty bastard. You know what I'm saying? But he could scrap. He got the hands. So give me Cortez here for the win. I was gonna say for the upset, but he's probably the favorite. In terms of how I want to play this one, I don't know. I really don't know. It's probably dog or pass, if I'm being completely honest.
And just to jump in, that's 100% how I would look at this fight. I think it is dog or pass. I think you play Leon low key for the decision.
Yes.
I don't think he's finishing Cortez in this fight. He's finishing upsides on the Cortez side.
I agree.
But if you're asking me, I think if you're looking for late, I agree with you. It's like Cortez second, third round because I think he's gonna drop the first round. The problem is this is a fight where I think it can lean into Leon's favor because Cortez is a slow starter. I think Leon can discipline him with the left hand. I think Leon can also discipline him with the body kicks. So for me, I think this is dog or pass. I think that's the only way you could look at this. Leon's the most physical, the biggest guy he's fought.
Hey, former champion.
I give Cortez a lot of credit for calling him out, which is why I understand why the money should probably be going to Cortez because he did call for this fight, meaning he probably sees something. And I know he knows he's not going to get wrestled in this fight, at least not to the extent that he thinks he's going to get wrestled, right? But the thing is, there's a key blueprint to beating Leon. You either got to wrestle him or you got to make the fight fucking dirty. He likes his fights pretty. He likes to sit back and pick his shots.
And Cortez, he could make it dirty.
He could.
I mean, he's got some sick elbows. He got some crazy knees. The switch stancing kicks are, Cortez has got some talent, man.
Yeah. The thing is, I won't go that far. I mean,
he was the only man to knock out Jeff Neal.
Yeah, but I was just because Jeff was being uber aggressive to your point. We talked about it prior to the podcast. I don't see a world where Leon's going to be uber aggressive. I think Leon's going to lean off his back foot.
He's got to make it boring.
And don't get me wrong, could Leon catch his ass? Yeah, 100%. Like, Leon is a fucking sniper, bro. He is. He just is. That headshot bang shit, I know he's not a guy that, knocks people out, historically, but he's also a guy that has legit power when he needs to. And I think he disciplines a lot of guys more than people want to give him credit for it. Like, that's why a lot of guys take the approach they do with him, because they can't crowd the inside with him. But if you're going to make it dirty, sure, I think you have a shot. I really do. And I think
he get beat up in the clinch too, if I'm being honest. Cortez is
I agree. Yeah. And I think that's where he probably thinks he's going to excel in this fight. But I don't think Leon's a fucking slouch in the clinch either. I think Cortez might think he's going to move him around easily. I'm not sure he does. I think Leon's a very physical fucking guy. This guy could fight at 85. That's how big he is. So for me, it's dog or pass. I'm going to lean Cortez like my brother here, man, but I'm not sure I can get behind this line. I would love to see the props when they drop. Follow us on our social media platforms as usual.
Next fight on the card at women's flyweight, and is currently constituted not only the co-main event of the evening, but for the undisputed featherweight championship. We have the champion, Valentina Shevchenko, going one-on-one with Weili Zhang. Shevchenko is 25-4-1 overall. The champion is fighting out of Kyrgyzstan, repping Kyrgyzstan, 37 years old. Zhang, 26-3 overall. The challenger is fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, but repping China, 36 years old. Very exciting. Like, I guess you want to call it a super fight, right? Zhang had to vacate her belt to move up in weight to fight Shevchenko here. A fight that, you know, a lot of people have been talking about, a lot of people have been speculating about, a lot of people are kind of hyped about, because, you know, Zhang's a bad woman and she's just been mopping the strawweights up. Shevchenko also kind of needs some challenges because, you know, she's been doing dirt, and I think she's just tired of fighting Grasso at this point. She's happy to get the belt back and kind of move on from that.
But yeah, she spammed takedowns in that last fight, because I thought she lost both fights, but I thought she lost 2 of the 3, but you know, that's a different conversation for a different day.
So now we're getting this mega fight here with Shevchenko and Zhang, and another fight where I was like, initially I was kind of like, you know, I think Zhang, she might got this one, you know? If she goes straight to the grappling, she goes straight to the wrestling, I think that's her path. I don't think she wants to stand here with Shevchenko. Valentina is a very good striker, kickboxing background, very high IQ, solid footwork. I mean, the woman's, she's diabolical on the feet, you know? Not to, you know, shit on Zhang. Zhang's got hands. She's probably got the power advantage here, the cleaner boxing. But I think Zhang's path here, in my opinion, is the grappling. The reason why I'm not picking her, though, and, you know, the more I thought about it, it's like, man, Shevchenko is just, she's so, she has big John Jones vibes. And when I say that, I mean, like, the way she processes fights, the way she analyzes, there you go. Like, her opponents, you know, she does her homework, extremely high IQ. She knows what she's getting into here. She does not want to lose to a strawweight. I think this is Shevchenko. I think she wins this probably by decision. I think she's going to be able to keep it on the feet for the most part. She's going to be using her footwork. And, you know, as long as she doesn't do any crazy spinning shit like she did against Grasso where she gives up her back, I think Shevchenko is going to edge this one out. I mean, is there a possibility for a finish? On both ends, yeah. I mean, Zhang's got the power. Shevchenko she's got precision, you know? Valentina's a bad woman. And I don't know. It's just, half of it is gut feeling. Half of it is, I got to trust the IQ. I got to trust I don't know. I got to trust something. There's something about Valentina, man. She's just a special fighter. And I think she's going to be able to edge this one out. Give me Shevchenko here for the win. If the late round props are juicy, maybe. But it's probably decision.
Yeah, this is a fight that's very simple to break down. And I'm with my brother here. I think initially when I seen this fight was announced, I was like, okay, Zhang's going to get her. Then you really look at it and you really think about it. It's like Valentina's fought as high as 35. She's going to be the bigger girl in there. She, I think, processes fights a little better. I think she makes better fight decisions. She's going to be the more technical striker. You could make even make a strong argument she's going to be the better control grappler in this fight. I think Valentina's kind of got this girl covered everywhere. What's going to give Valentina, I think, a lot of trouble is we're going to really learn in this fight how much Zhang has improved her wrestling from the Rose fight till now. You've seen it kind of with the Tatiana fight. I'm pretty sure she's done stringent camps to elevate her wrestling game. But besides that, if she cannot keep Valentina from taking her down, it's going to be a long fucking night in my opinion. I think she's going to fucking hug her to a decision. The only good thing is the way these refs are reffing these days, there's also a strong chance that this fight gets stood up a ton of times and Zhang can find a finish late, low key. I think Zhang as a live bet spot is going to be very interesting here. I think Zhang for the finish would be interesting here as well too. I think those are props I'm going to look at. But if you're asking me, I think Valentina's gonna try to creep this to a decision. I gotta see weigh-ins. This is a fight I really have to analyze like all the way through before I can give you like a legitimate pick, because I think I can easily switch sides come close to the fight time. But what gives me concerns about Valentina is that Valentina is older, and this is gonna probably be by far the fastest girl she's fought. Like by far. I think Zhang is super fast. Speed kills. Give me Valentina for the lean to get this done via decision. But once again, to my brother's point, when like Leon Edwards, when you're letting these competitors hang around, they can find shit. I think Zhang is probably going to be, it's crazy to say it, she's moving up, but she's physically probably going to be the most impressive girl she's fought from an athlete standpoint. And I think the ground Zhang can cover in this fight is going to be impressive. I also think if Valentina doesn't work on the floor, this fight's going to be put back on the feet. Like, referees have just been way more aggressive in terms of standing fights up. So I'm not sure Valentina's going to be able to lay and pray her way to a decision here. I'm going to lean Valentina, man, but man, fucking tentatively. Like, this fight's lined at a pick'em. There's a reason for that. I think no one really knows what this fight's going to look like. But it would be dog or pass if someone was a dog. But if you're asking me, Valentina for the lean, possible dog play incoming. But follow us on our social media platforms to see how we're going to finish, playing this as usual.
Next fight on the card, and it's currently constituted the main event of the evening for the welterweight championship. At welterweight, we have the champion, Della Maddalena, going one-on-one with the debuting, I guess, for the weight class, Islam Makhachev. Three-name Jack is 18-2 overall. The champion is fighting out of Australia, repping Australia, 29 years old. Islam is 27-1 overall. The challenger is fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 34 years old. What a fight! What a banger! Man, I'm looking forward to this one. No cap, hand on a stack, bars. I'm a fan of Della. Always been a fan of Della. I love the striking. The guy's fluid in there. He's got solid footwork. He puts his combinations together beautifully. Works the body, goes to the head. Hey, yo, he's a rock'em sock'em. He can take one to give 17. And, he has been working on his grappling as well. Decently defensive. Pretty all right on the offensive side when it comes to grappling as well. Now, is he going to offensively wrestle Islam here? I don't think so. Islam, on the other hand, 155, kind of cleaned out that division a little bit. Not really, but kind of moving up in weight because, the man just can't make the weight class anymore. He's always been very huge for 155. And to be honest, he's probably going to be pretty big, pause here, for 170. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be leaning Makhachev here for the win. And, some people are going to say, Ray, why? Why are you picking Islam? I mean, he's moving up in weight. His first fight's for the chip. Della just finished beating up Bilal Muhammad. Let me explain why. Even though Della was able to mitigate a lot of, Muhammad's wrestling, Muhammad was still able to successfully get the man down. Now, I know he's been training with, Craig Jones, and they've been sucking that off a whole bunch.
Glazing.
And to be honest, it's been working for Jack. I mean, Jack's a quick learner, and he's a very talented guy. And, even though he was able to get taken down, he was able to get back up, keep the fight standing. I mean, he forced that fight to be a striking match. And even though Muhammad's got underrated hands, they ain't three-name Jack's hands.
Yeah.
So he was able to dominate him for, the majority of that fight, get the belt. But if you go back a fight, again, I was on three-name Jack when he was going one-on-one with Gilbert Burns. Me and my brother had a little bit of we were a little bit separated on the side. He was on the Burns side. And listen, no cap, I don't want to admit it to my brother, but, Burns might have been winning that fight. He might have been.
Oh, shit.
But, my man, three-name Jack was able to pull through in the third round, and put Gilbert Burns, put him down. So, why Islam? Well, listen, Islam, he's a wrestler. But he's a wrestler of the Dagestani descent. Those guys don't fuck around. It's a different kind of wrestling, you know what I'm saying? Will Craig Jones' techniques, help him out here? I think they will. Until Islam decides to start chaining some of that wrestling. Start really putting it on him, giving him different looks, making that boy work. And I think that is, that's the edge. That's one of the big reasons why I gotta leave Makhachev here. I mean, I would like to see the weigh-ins, obviously. I would like to see the face-offs. Makhachev, also underrated striker. He's a guy who kind of prefers to strike over the grappling. He's not the prototypical, Khabib archetype of fighter. People think that he's wrestling first. He's really not. Does he do that against Jack here? I think he's going to mix in some striking for sure, but it's always gonna come back to the wrestling, in my opinion. Give me Islam here. Give me Islam for the win. Late round finish.
Interesting.
I'll debate that one. I'll kind of like I'll think about that one for sure. But I'm gonna safely say here by decision, Islam. You know, we're in New York. Muslims are up. Mamdani just won. I think Makhachev's going ride the wave, ride that momentum, and we're gonna have another double champ in our hands, ladies and gentlemen. And that hurts to say because I love Jack Della. I love him, but man, I need to see it first. I need to see it. I was ready to bet Sean Brady. I was ready to bet Sean Brady against Jack Della. That fight fell through. My brain goes, if I was ready to bet Sean, why not Islam? He's the better grappler.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I've come to the conclusion for a couple of reasons. I don't think Belal really sold out for the takedowns as much as he probably could in that last fight. I think he wanted to put on an entertaining fight. I think he fought his lowest IQ fight in his biggest moment. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Which is insane, actually.
It's sad, man, because I was rooting for him, but I think he gets a lot of fucking flack for a lot of various different reasons, which we will not cover on this podcast. But I feel like this is a fight where Islam is going to string together his wrestling and make this very interesting. Now, could JDM replicate what Volkanovski was able to do under Craig Jones? Yes. The thing is, this is a guy in JDM, doesn't have the biggest pop in his shots. He's going to be bigger in there, but Islam is huge for 55. He's going to fit right into welterweight immediately. I suspect his chin's going to be a little more durable. I suspect his cardio might even be up to par as well, too, because he's not depleting his body. But that's all to be said and to be seen, rather, right? So
bars.
I feel like this is a fight where Islam can definitely win minutes, holding him down and control grappling him. This is a fight where I also feel like Belal Muhammad, where he lacks entirely compared to Islam, is the threat of the submission as well as the ground and pound.
I agree.
And I think this is a fight where JDM, even though he's had a sufficient amount of time to prepare and use the butterfly to kind of mitigate a lot of the passing position so he can pop right back up to his feet against Islam, this is probably the best wrestler / grappler he's faced.
I agree.
By far. So I'm going to lean Islam for that premise. But here's what I will say, ladies and gentlemen. If Islam is not getting the spots he gets to early in this fight, I think JDM live bet is live. Because I do suspect that he will tread a little better down the stretch of this fight, just because he has shown that he can dog out a 5-round fight, and he showed it in his last fight in a very high-paced fight. Islam still hasn't shown me that he can take a 5-round pacing, even though I think it could be equated to weight cutting. But Volkanovski moved up and gave him all he could handle, low-key. And I understand some people even gave Islam 4 rounds in that fight. I did, and I think it was 3-2. He stopped him in the second fight. Understandable. Volkanovski got off the couch for that fight. But this is Islam moving up in a weight class he hasn't proven himself in. And it's not like the 70 to, like, it's not like the 45 to 55 jump. This is a 15-pound jump against a guy who has better hands than him and has significantly improved his down blocking and first line defense for wrestling, and worked with the same guy that gave him trouble in his last troubled fight with Volkanovski, working with Craig Jones. This fight is fucking interesting, guys. If Islam doesn't get it done, I won't be surprised.
Hey, listen, all I'm going to say, because I love Jack, again, I'm going to repeat, he got taken down by Belal.
Yep.
Wasn't controlled by Belal, but got taken down. Got taken down several times by Gilbert Burns. And controlled for a lot of that fight.
But wasn't working with Craig Jones entirely for that camp.
But wasn't, you're right.
Correct.
And, even to go a little further, and it was a, short notice, kind of like, last minute opponent for him, but he did go to split decision with Basil Hafez.
Yeah. But didn't work on his wrestling at all for that camp.
But didn't. You're right. So, I don't, but I'm just saying.
It's hard.
But I'm just saying.
It's real. If you've done grappling, you understand how much of a difference in level there is between someone who's done it for 15 to 20 years versus someone who is developing it in 1 to 2. It's hard for me to believe he's going to be able to close that gap unless he has urgency getting to his feet as soon as his butt hits the mat and just is able to create scrambles to get back up to his feet, which, by the way, he is good at doing. So this fight's fucking interesting, man. And,
it's a great fight,
and
man.
The other thing that scares me off of Islam here, just a bit, is that he's been talking about Topuria a lot, man. And bro, you got to get through this motherfucker first.
You got to lock in here, brother.
This guy's not fucking bad. He just beat up your teammate. He beat the fuck out of him, and he beat 4 rounds of piss out of him. So I just feel like, you know, we got to be very careful and mindful of, you know, where we're at with this. I'm going to lean Islam, man, not with the highest degree of confidence. I'm like moderately confident he gets this done. But if JDM pulls this out of his ass, man, I'm not going to be fucking surprised. But give me Islam for the lean here. I'll say Islam late round stoppage or decision.
And that does it for UFC 322. Moving right along, like always, to the sweet science. We're going to go right into a top rank card with a couple of bangers, and we're going to be kicking it off with Emiliano Vargas going one-on-one with Jonathan Montrell. Vargas, perfect, 15-0. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 21 years old. Montrell, 19-3 overall. Fighting out of New Orleans, Louisiana, 35 years old.
Yeah, this is a setup fight low-key for Vargas, in my opinion. This is a guy in Montrell, 35 years old. He's going to be smaller than Emiliano by about 3 inches, and he's going to have about a 7-inch reach disadvantage. Absurd. Emiliano's gonna look like a giant in there next to him. So I feel like this is Emiliano's fight to lose. I suspect that Emiliano's gonna find the finish in this fight. Him and his brothers seem to always find finishes in their fights, especially fights that are catered to them to win. 14-year advantage for Emiliano. Give me Emiliano to figure this guy out within, I think he gets him out of there within the first 6 rounds, or first 5 rounds rather. Give me Emiliano Vargas early, knockout.
Next fight on the card at men's heavyweight, we have Richard Torres Jr. going one-on-one with Tomas Selik. Torres, perfect, 13-0. Fighting out of California, 26 years old. Selik, 23-7 overall. Fighting out of the Czech Republic, repping the Czech Republic, 27 years old.
Yeah, this is a fight where Richie Torres is sitting as a minus 8,000 favorite.
Damn.
Emiliano Vargas as well, sitting at minus 2,400. So even though I'm saying knockout, there's a good chance we're probably it's not gonna be bettable, to be frank with you. I think it's a 10-round contest as well. Richie Torres Jr. is gonna dog walk this fucking guy, ladies and gentlemen. I think Selik, yes, he's seasoned, he's a vet. He's gonna be bigger than Richie. I get all that, but this is a guy in Richie Torres who is very gifted athlete, knows how to move his feet, knows how to combination punch. I think Selik is stuck in the mud. I think he's a very slow fighter. He plots. Doesn't have the quickest hands, doesn't have the quickest feet. Richie Torres is going to be able to create angles on him and stop him, I would say, in the early to mid rounds. Give me Richie Torres Jr. here to figure this guy out and stop him within the first 5 rounds.
Next fight on the card, and is currently constituted the co-main event of the evening. At 140 pounds, we have Lindorfo Delgado going one-on-one with Gabriel Valenzuela. Delgado is perfect, 23-0. Fighting out of Mexico, repping Mexico, 30 years old. Valenzuela, 31-4-1 overall. Also fighting out of Mexico, also repping Mexico, 31 years old.
Yeah, this is a premier fight, in my opinion. This guy Delgado, man, good. Me and my brother were watching him before the podcast. Good slip and rip boxing ability, very high fight IQ, but has punching power. He doesn't have the most knockouts at this level, but this dude was an Olympian before he became pro.
Bars.
Legit boxing savvy. Like, knows how to move his feet, knows how to create angles, lands damage when you make mistakes. There's a guy in Gabriel Valenzuela who, little slow, plots forward, just going to be there for the picking, in my opinion. Pretty much try to go blow for blow with Sabril Matias. Terrible fucking mistake. Montana Love was able to drop him, but Montana Love was able to control the distance and outbox him throughout that fight. This is going to be no different. It's just that he's a combination of both those guys, where he has legitimate punching power as well as good boxing savvy. Doesn't ever get hit clean, knows how to cut angles. I expect Delgado to figure this guy out and get him out of there by, I would say, mid to late rounds. Because he doesn't have that touch of depth, but he has enough pop in his shots where if the referee sees enough, he's going to call the fight. Gabriel's too tough for his own good, so if it does get stretched to a decision, I'm not going to be surprised. But I expect him to find the door and to direct Gabriel to the door. This is Gabriel Valenzuela. This is not Jose Valenzuela, ladies and gentlemen.
Bars.
Give me Delgado to figure this guy out. I'd say mid to late round stoppage.
Next fight on the card, and is currently constituted the main event for this top-ranked card for the WBO World Featherweight title. We have Rafael Espinoza going one-on-one with Arnold Khegai. Espinoza is perfect, 27-0. The champion is fighting out of Mexico, repping Mexico, 31 years old. Khegai is 23-2-1 overall. The challenger is Fighting out of Philly, but repping the Ukraine, 33 years old.
Yeah, this is I feel another showcase fight, unfortunately. This is a guy in Arnold Khegai who could give Espinoza some trouble because he does have some decent pop in his hands. The problem is I think Espinoza is just way too big for this weight class. He's going to be able to walk him down. He's going to be able to hit him from places that he hasn't been hit before. Khegai has that Ukrainian dance boxing style, does move his feet well, does fight pretty good on the inside, is very elusive, but I expect Espinoza to find the body, really dig to the body, really hurt him to the body. I expect Espinoza to break him down, stop him mid to late rounds. What I also like is because Espinoza has been chin checked before, Kagai's knockdowns, if he can find a knockdown this fight, I'm not sure if I'm going to get there to playing it, but it is something that I'm looking at just so you guys have a heads up. Khegai does have decent pop in his shots. Espinoza is there to be hit. This is a guy in Espinoza who was able to walk down his last opponent because he could not hurt him. I think Khegai can get his respect. So once again, I'm going to say Espinoza mid to late round stoppage. It could get stretched to a decision if Khegai is able to hurt him early and get his respect. I like Khegai possibly for the knockdowns here. I like the knockdowns in total for this fight because both of them probably will get dropped in this fight. Or more so Khegai getting dropped with a body shot, in the duration of this fight. I think Espinoza is going to be too much. I think Espinoza gets it done mid to late round stoppage. Not saying that with a high degree of confidence because it could get stretched to a decision, but follow us on all social media platforms to see how we're going to play this.
That does it for the top ranked portion of the card. We're going to go right into England, where we got a couple of bangers, and we're going to be kicking it off on this England card with Sam Gilly going one-on-one with Ishmael Davis. The Magic Man, Gilly, is 18-1-1 overall. Fighting out of England, repping England, 31 years old. Ishmael, the Black Panther Davis, is 14-3 overall. Fighting out of Leeds, Yorkshire, but repping England, 30 years old.
Yeah, this is a fight where I'm kind of understanding of the line. They have Ishmael Davis sitting at a -320, Sam Gilly sitting at a +220 on the return. I understand the line a little bit, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is Ishmael Davis' fight to lose. He is a marauder. He walks forward. He lands big shots. He's very athletic. This is the guy in Sam Gilly, the Magic Man. I don't know what magic he spews because he is not quick. He is not fast. He needs to create some magic to create faster feet and faster hand speed. People are going to look at the record and they're going to see that he has a couple of stoppages. He's a 50% finisher, and he stopped a couple of guys over his last couple of fights. But then you do some digging. He fought McCann. McCann's an MMA fighter. He stopped him in the 4th round. He fought another guy in Ellis Corey. Ellis Corey is a 7-2 fighter, barely any experience, and he took advantage of that. He fought another guy before that in Drew Brown, 12-1. You can't even find half of this guy's Wikipedia fights on the internet.
Yeah.
And then if you look into the guys that he's beaten at 12-1, some of them were like 20-116, 40-84, horrible fucking records. Then on top of that, you go even further back than that. The last guy he stopped before that was 13-8. He's fighting nobodies. And he has a 18-1 record, but they're all questionable. Then he goes to a draw with Gideon Jonas, who is a 7-5 fighter. Who? So for me, I think he's a little bit of a fraud. There's a guy in Ishmael Davis who has fought much better brand of competition. He got stopped by Bohachuk. No shame in that. That guy's a fucking beast. He lost to Josh Kelly, took that fight on short notice, was able actually to cut Josh Kelly open. But Josh Kelly's a professional, an Olympian. He's a very good boxer. Lost the next fight by split, but then got back on the horse fighting a guy that he was supposed to get rid of that was 1-15. The jury stood out on Ishmael Davis, but just based off of the eye test, I expect Ishmael to find this guy's fucking chin. He's fought the way better brand of competition. He's the more physically gifted fighter. He hits way harder. He's going to be faster. Everything's on the Ishmael side here for this play. So I get that the last guy he fought was 1-15. If you like Gilly at all, you play the decision because he is not going to stop Ishmael Davis here. I also believe that Gilly's not going to be able to hurt him like the previous opponents were. Kelly stopped him with sharpness. Bohachuk stopped him with power. And then I think he was still ruffling the feathers in the following contest after that. I think this is Ishmael Davis by knockout. I think he catches him mid to late rounds here. I think he breaks him down to the body, breaks him down with vicious uppercuts and body shots so he starts bleeding out of his ass, as the great Damon Wayans would say. But if you like the Gilly side, I think you play the decision. I don't think he stops Ishmael Davis. Give me Ishmael Davis via knockout here. But if Gilly finds his way to the scorecards, I don't think a decision play, depending on the value, is invalid here. But give me Ishmael Davis. I think he's going to figure him out and get him the fuck out of there.
Next fight on the card at 147 and is currently constituted the co-main event of this particular card. We have Jack Catterall going one-on-one with Iko Esumen. Catterall, 31-2 overall. Fighting out of England, repping England, 32 years old. Isuman, the engine, is 22-1 overall. Fighting out of England, repping England, 36 years old.
Yeah, Nickal, decent puncher, walks forward, throws a lot of volume. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I faded Jack Catterall before. I've been on Jack Catterall before. I think this is Jack Catterall's fight to lose. I think he's going to be the more technical boxer. I think he has surprisingly good pop on his shots, which is why he's able to maintain distance a lot better than most people against some of these more common opponents. Nickal, don't get me wrong. I don't hate the dog shot on him here. The line's -215 for Catterall, +162 on the return for Nickal. Nickal throws vicious punches against the ropes. The thing is, this is a fight where he's fighting a much better version of Josh Taylor. He fought washed up version of Josh Taylor his last fight and got the decision there. Jack Catterall, I don't think it's quite done yet. I think he's a dog. I think both of them are dogs. I'm going to lean the more technical boxer to get this done via decision. What also I think is intriguing in this fight is the knockdowns. And there's a couple of reasons. Both of them kind of suspect chins in a way, but both of them have sneaky power. And Nickal has been dropped in this fight. I think he got dropped 2 fights ago to a guy that no one knew. This guy, Catterall, doesn't have a lot of knockouts in his record, but if you watch the footage and you understand what you're watching, he has a lot of knockdowns. He has surprising power. But this guy, Nickal, also has power. Either one of these boys can knock each other down. I expect Catterall to probably catch him on the way in because he does open up and extend. And I think Catterall's a more tight puncher and can catch him in between his punches. But if Nickal catches him, I'm not going to be surprised. I like the knockdowns in this fight. I think they're going to be something I'm going to take a strong look at. But if you're asking me, I think Catterall's going to figure it out. I think Catterall's going to get this done via decision. Follow us on all social media platforms to see how we're going to pursue this further.
Next fight on the card, and is currently constituted the main event, not only for this particular card, but the last fight we're going to be breaking down, ladies and gentlemen. It is a run back, it is a rematch, and it is featuring Chris Eubank Jr. going one-on-one once again with Conor Benn. Eubank Jr. is 35-3 overall. Fighting at England, repping England, 36 years old. The Destroyer, Benn, 23-1 overall. Also fighting out of England, also repping England, 29 years old.
Yeah, if you've seen the first fight, it was fight of the year. Low-key, it's fight of the year so far. I'm surprised they're turning it around this fast. They both took a significant amount of damage in that first fight.
Banger.
Some of the best entrances I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Eubanks with his dad was fucking epic with that Still Dre shit. Oh, man, I got my Raiders shit out. I was ready to kill a motherfucker.
You love
watching
that
shit.
That entry was fucking epic.
Epic as shit. So for me, this is a fight where I picked Eubanks Jr. to get it done via decision, and he got it done via unanimous decision the first fight. I expect him to get it done again, and for a couple of reasons. He's going to be much bigger than Benn. I don't give a shit how much training Benn's done in these couple of months. It's a welterweight fighting up at middleweight. And you've seen the size difference. Eubank Jr., if he doesn't have a terrible weight cut this week, because he had one the last fight, he talked explicitly in detail about it. He might have the rehydration clause too. I expect if they knew this fight wasn't a table, they took better care of business heading into this fight. The other thing is too, Eubanks Jr. said, I didn't know, and I quote, I didn't know he had that in him the last fight. And with that said, I think Eubanks is not going to overlook this fucking guy this time in any way. I think he's going to make sure every stone is unturned. What gives me a little pause is that Eubanks is a little older, but not that much older. Conor Benn's going to be the faster guy in there considering he's moving up in weight. But I expect this to be a lot of the same. I expect this fight to be epic. I expect the pageantry to be incredible for this fight. Let's see if they can replicate that magic coming into the second fight. But I expect Eubanks Jr., who is the more experienced fighter, the guy who's been a champion at this level, not had just like a regional title belt, the guy who I think is more seasoned and is looking for a fucking Canelo payday after this. I expect him to figure this out, get it done. I expect him to probably make this look a little more distinct. If it is close again, I'm not going to be surprised. And then if it is close, I am not going to be surprised if the judges rob it so they can get a trilogy and make a ton of money on this fucking contest.
Hey, Dogger Pass don't sound too bad, huh?
Yeah, Dogger Pass isn't terrible on the spot. But I do expect Eubanks to put on a better performance this go around. I do. Give me Chris Eubanks Jr. by decision. The overs are interesting here. I don't expect anyone to finish anyone. But give me Chris Eubanks Jr. to figure this out via decision. Not with a high degree of confidence, but I'm going to say moderately confident. Give me him by decision. Follow us on all social media platforms to see if we get there with the bet.
And that does it for our combat coverage. You know, we did a little bit of UFC. We did a lot of boxing. But that's all we got today, folks. That's episode 122 in the books. Let me toss it over to my brother. My brother, please take us home.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
If you haven't already, what the fuck are you waiting for? Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date, especially if you enjoy the visual portion of this podcast.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know. Keep the download coming. Guys, we cracked 1,000 views already. Like, we're doing great numbers. We know a lot more of you guys are watching than subscribing. Like, do us a solid.
I appreciate it.
It's free 99. Hook us up, man. It helps a lot. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps a lot with our motivation, which we are always motivated, but we want to be even more motivated to deliver more content in the future to you guys, especially if you guys are giving us this much viewership, as well as the subscriptions and everything that we're seeing and the downloads from the audio side. We know there is a big interest and big intrigue in what we are doing, and we know we are putting out a quality product.
Bang.
Help us keep the train going. Love you guys. See you guys next week for the next episode. Enjoy the fights this weekend. Great card. MSG, welcome to New York, home of the brave. You know what it is. We here. Holla at you. Possibly see you at the fights. Later.